Hello and welcome to Book Club on the Go, the podcast where we explore one book at a time. Today we're going to dive into one of the most famous works of Spanish literature, Don Quixote by Miguel de Cervantes. First published in two parts in 1605 and 1615, Don Quixote tells the story of a man named Alonso Quixano who becomes so obsessed with chivalric romance novels that he decides to become a knight himself, taking the name Don Quixote de la Mancha. Accompanied by his loyal squire, Sancho Panza, Don Quixote sets out on a series of adventures that often end in disaster due to his misguided and delusional quest to restore chivalry to the world. One of the most notable aspects of this book is its use of humor and satire to critique the social and political realities of 17th century Spain. Cervantes uses the character of Don Quixote as a stand-in for the delusional and often absurd nature of Spanish nobility, who were often more concerned with honor and appearances than with actual deeds of valor or righteousness. Another important aspect of the novel is its exploration of the nature of reality and the power of imagination. His delusions often lead him to see the world in a different way than those around him, and his insistence on seeing the world through the lens of chivalric romance is both comical and poignant. The novel is also notable for its complex and multifaceted characters. Don Quixote himself is a deeply flawed and tragic figure, whose obsession with chivalry ultimately leads to his downfall. Sancho Panza, on the other hand, is a more pragmatic and down-to-earth character who often serves as a foil to his idealism. Let's explore some of the themes and motifs that make this book such a rich and enduring work of literature. One of the most notable themes of the novel is the idea of idealism versus realism. Don Quixote's quest to become a knight is driven by his idealistic belief in the chivalric romance novels he has read, which portray a world of honor, nobility, and bravery. However, the reality of 17th century Spain is far more complex and often cruel, and his idealism frequently leads him into trouble. Another important theme of the novel is the power of literature and storytelling. His obsession with chivalric romance novels has a profound impact on his life and the lives of those around him. His delusions often lead him to see the world in a different way than those around him, and his belief in the power of stories to shape our perceptions of reality is both inspiring and tragic. The novel is also notable for its use of irony and satire to critique the social and political realities of 17th century Spain. Cervantes skewers the hypocrisy and absurdity of the Spanish nobility, who were often more concerned with appearances than with actual deeds of valor or righteousness. He also critiques the church and other institutions of power for their role in perpetuating social injustice and inequality. Let's delve a little deeper into some of the literary devices and techniques that Cervantes employs in Don Quixote. One of the most notable features of the novel is its use of metafiction, or self-referentiality. Throughout the book, Cervantes calls attention to the fact that it is a work of fiction, often breaking the fourth wall to address the reader directly. This creates a sense of playfulness and self-awareness that adds to the novel's humor and charm. Another important literary device in the novel is the use of multiple narrators. The story is told from a variety of perspectives, including that of the narrator, Cide Hamid Benengeli, and various characters within the story. This allows for a nuanced and multifaceted exploration of the novel's themes and motifs, and also adds to the overall complexity and richness of the work. Cervantes also employs a variety of narrative techniques to create a sense of momentum and forward motion in the story. For example, he frequently employs cliffhangers and plot twists to keep the reader engaged, and uses flashbacks and flash-forwards to create a sense of anticipation and suspense. This book is notable for its use of humor, satire, and irony. Cervantes is a master of comic timing and uses humor to both entertain and critique the society in which he lived. His use of irony and satire to expose the absurdity of the Spanish nobility and other institutions of power is both biting and insightful, and his characters are often simultaneously sympathetic and ridiculous. In conclusion, Don Quixote is a masterpiece of literature that employs a variety of literary devices and techniques to create a rich and complex work of art. Its use of metafiction, multiple narrators, narrative techniques, and humor and satire all contribute to its enduring appeal and status as one of the greatest works of literature of all time. We hope you enjoyed our discussion. Remember, this podcast is all about exploring one book at a time. If you want to dive deeper and better understand the book, we recommend picking up a copy and reading it yourself. Make sure to tune in next week when we discuss another book. Remember to subscribe and review our podcast to help us reach more book lovers like you. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode. Until next time, stay curious.